All right, friends. Come and find a comfortable seat, whatever that's gonna look like. So sit on top of something, close your sweet eyes. You can rest your hands on your thighs, or maybe even in your lap. And let's take a collective breath together, just to really connect ourselves. A big breath in through the nose, and out the mouth. Kapalabhati is an energizing pranayama, also known as skull shining breath. And it's meant to help us clear the lungs. The style of pranayama involves sharp, active exhales through the nose to help stimulate the clearing of the lungs. Root down, inhale, rise up, reach your arms to the sky. Hands to your heart.
Hi, my name is Katy, and I'm from Sailing Seawind. Hi.
Who are you?
I'm Katy.
Where are you from?
I'm from Boundless. I'm of Sailing Seawind. We were really looking forward to coming to Costa Rica because we heard so many amazing things, and also it's kind of a hub for jungle and surfing and food and yoga and wellness, and like there's all these pieces in Costa Rica, and I really didn't know what to expect, but I knew going into it that I wanted to be able to spend some time off the boat, specifically doing yoga. Once we got to Costa Rica, we were in Golfito for a while, in the anchorage at the marina, and the longer we were there, the more antsy I think I got. I kept saying I felt hollow, but I felt like disconnected from myself. And after a lot of reflection and conversations together, kind of came to this realization that I needed to invest some time and resources into myself. We invested in the boat, we invested in going through the canal, we invested in traveling home, invested in other people. I can surely take something to invest in myself and take some space. And so we had always talked about what would it look like for maybe me to be off the boat and you to spend some time by yourself on the boat. And you also like yoga, I mean, that's how we met. So you also wanted to have some of that too for you. But what was really important for us and for me was to have that solitude. Super, super passionate about teaching yoga. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. I got certified in 2017, and I taught a lot for 2 years really. Taught a lot for 2 years when I was living in Pittsburgh and finishing school. And then I moved to Uganda, and I even taught over there. I taught in a community class every week. And then when I came home, that was really the only work I had, was teaching yoga at a local gym. And I got a few other certifications. So I'm trauma-informed, trauma-certified yoga teacher. I also have a couple certifications that specialize in yoga for addiction and recovery. And so I ended up teaching in a community center as well for folks in active addiction, in recovery, and their loved ones, involved in that space. And then March 2020 came around and everything kind of shut down. And also we were getting ready to, move onto the boat. And that was our first summer really sailing around Lake Erie full time. And we knew we would be leaving soon. So I hadn't taught a yoga class since then. I don't think I really put two and two together of how much that impacted me, like not being in a community where I'm like self-discovery and like growth as a human. We have grown as like a team on the boat. We've grown as a couple. It's time that I took some space and that I like invested that time in myself and to connect to myself again. That's kind of how I ended up doing research in the Golfo Dulce area for yoga retreats or retreat center. And I spent actually like a couple weeks, like since we got to Costa Rica, looking at what was around. And I kept coming back to this one place called Nereus Retreats. As soon as we arrived here, it was like family. I mean, it was we really hit it off with them, the folks who were here for the teacher training. It was so nice. And it was like, it's exactly what we needed too. Like, you got to practice yoga, be in that space. I got to kind of be in more of my creative brain, my spiritual brain that I really enjoy to be in that place. I don't think I get to be there too often or allow myself to be there too often. The following week, they were having a yin and yoga nidra training, which is continuing education for yoga teachers, and I am due for continuing education. So Jen was like, you should definitely stay. She said that like 3 or 4 times. I finally was like, I'm gonna stay. And I got to have a week of yin training, yoga nidra training, which now I'm certified in that with my yoga teacher. But it was so much more than that. It was daily practice, 2 times a day, 1 hatha vinyasa, 1 yin and yoga nidra, and it was so much time for contemplation and stillness. And I could go on forever about like the 3 principles of yin, right? Like finding your edge, being there for time, and being still. And that is like the hardest thing to do when you're so used to going. So yeah, I got to spend a week doing that. I feel a lot more comfortable in my skin, and where we are at on our home on Boundless, like I just feel more settled. I feel like when I first got here, it was like I felt very attached to being here.
You were almost already grieving it being over.
Right. Yeah, because
when you just got here.
it was just, I knew it was exactly what I needed. But the longer I kind of sat with everything and was just in it, now it's like, oh, I feel ready to go back home to our boat. I've said it like 17 million times since yesterday. I'm like so ready to go back to Boundless, but I'm also so ready to take the pieces that I've learned here into my everyday life.
Forward into plank pose. Option to lower the knees to the mat first, or option 2, we'll all exhale the lower chest, belly, and thighs down at the same time. Untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet in. As you inhale, lift your chin and your chest, hands stay soft. Wake up the muscles of the back. One big breath in. And exhale, up and back we go, downward dog. Root down through your left foot and inhale, reach your right leg up and back, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step your right foot forward, plant it down. Left knee lowers to the mat. Inhale, arms reach wide and high. Low belly draws in as we lift the heart. And exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot, lift your back knee and step forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, root down, inhale, rise, and reach. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step your left foot back, left knee to the mat, inhale, arms wide and high. 1 breath. And exhale, the hands come down, lift the back knee, step the right foot back, downward dog. Inhale, forward, plank pose, option to lower the
That's such a big question already. Okay, I'm Michelle Garcia. I'm from Canada, from British Columbia, from the far north, the armpit of British Columbia, as I lovingly call it. Oh, yoga's become such a big part of my life. I had no idea it was going to be a big part of my life. Amy, this wonderful woman, anytime I would see her, she would always say to me, like, I really think that you would be an amazing yoga teacher. You should do it. Just like make it happen, because she's like, I think you'd be really great. I think honestly it's probably because of her believing in me that I even started looking at it. So I found a teacher training in 2015, and yeah, took that and then never really looked back. I think I was in banking for maybe a year after my teacher training, maybe a year and a half. And then I quit and took my little baby pension payout and ran away to Hawaii and then to Mexico and now to Costa Rica. Took a teacher training in Costa Rica, in Montezuma in 2019, and that's how I met Jen, the owner of Nereus. And her and I just became friends and stayed close. And then I stopped working for the company I was working for before, and like within a month of that happening, her and Stuart came and bought this place. And then we just kind of stayed connected. I was coming down to Costa Rica again for my honeymoon, and she was like, well, you should come and check out the retreat center that we just bought. And then of course the dreaming and the scheming begins, and yeah, that's how we got here. So now we've been here since the end of August and living life. It's my second home. I mean, I'm here almost every day. And it's become especially a place where I can grow as a person. I think that's one of the things that I value the most about being here, is that everybody's so focused on education in this family, which I really love. And I really like the spiritual growth side of things. So it's really nice to be in an educational space where I also get to deepen my learning. And being surrounded by such intellectual people makes it really easy to step into that, but they're also very like holistic minded people. So like I get to learn so much from Jen about like Ayurveda and nutrition, and then I get to kind of turn that in my own world, and then I get to lead the teacher trainings where I get to put all of the things that I learn into action and then help other people. So it's become like, it's so much more than just like, this is where I work, you know? It's like, this is where I grow more than anything, I think. It's been amazing. There's a lot of philosophy in yoga that I think people just completely overlook because we get very like Western mindset of like, what are we achieving? And so people see like a certificate and they see asana, and those are physical ways that we can see that, but there's so much more. And especially when you get the opportunity to live in a community with people, everyone has something to teach, whether they are teachers in some way or not, right? Through lived experience, life experience. And so it becomes a very eye-opening and then also sometimes very healing place to be. You're surrounded by like-minded people who are also open-minded, and the conversations can be so deep and so helpful. But also things are so light and fun. I mean, you start your day in a yoga class that sometimes you cry, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you do both in the same class. So yeah, it's like the best way to start your day. You take the influences in nature and then you turn yoga into your own individualized kind of practice, and that tends to be what we end up offering, whatever it is that works for us.
So here, when you stay, you get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, also coffee, tea, water, there's snacks in the fridge, you know. Every meal was so nutritious, but so satisfying. There was desserts some nights too, like the brownies are something of dreams. Living with OCD, sometimes folks, depending on what their theme is, they can have trouble with food. Sometimes I have trouble with food, when to eat food, when to stop and make food, what to eat. Like even the process of cooking, like I have a hard time with it. It sounds silly, but like when you're in the brain and it's happening, it's definitely not. Being able to step into like a very safe space with that food, meaning like there's options. You get to make your own plate, what you're comfortable with. Because that was something I wasn't doing too well with before coming here. I was having a hard time with that on the boat. And so I feel like coming out of this retreat and spending time eating meals here, I feel like nourished and ready to get back into like my routine of things.
My name is Jen Miller, and this is my husband, Stuart Miller. We've been married 28 years, and we recently purchased this beautiful property right on the beach in the Osa Peninsula with a plan to create a retreat center that has its own yoga school and a wellness program, with the idea that people can come on vacation to find maybe a wellness reset or a yoga teacher training. We're also a venue for other teachers to bring their groups and host their own events. It's amazing. We're right here on the beach, right in the jungle, surrounded by the wildlife.
I'm from Scotland originally.
And I grew up in New York State, very close to New York City. We moved to Costa Rica in 2010, and that's when I started really taking my yoga practice much more seriously, and I got further into the study of yoga and Ayurveda. I went to an Ayurvedic college and I trained to be an Ayurvedic practitioner with my practicums in India. So I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner and as well as a yoga teacher. The two sister sciences go well together. And then after that, I spent more time going back training to be a functional medicine nutritionist. So sort of old science meets new science, the biochemistry meets the ancient wisdom. The combination of all of those things really have come together into this place, ancient wisdom, modern day application. To take the old science, the old wisdom, and apply it in a modern way, which means also explaining it with modern tools, like where's the intersect?
Whereas I have to be fully honest, I don't have a deep yoga background nor a deep wellness background, but I'm just along for the ride, and it makes me much healthier doing that. But for both of us, though, this has been a return to us working together, which we did throughout our 20s and 30s. And so it's nice to click back into that together.
Yeah. So we offer a combination of experiences here. You can come just stay with us and have a retreat style vacation where you get to live in the community and have family style meals. You may or may not have a group of yogis in a training alongside of you, or you can come and participate in a yoga teacher training. We also do continuing education programs. We get outside teachers hosting their events and open to other people who'd like to join in. We're also a good place for someone who needs a health reset, because I'm a functional medicine nutritionist, and we're a health supportive kitchen. So our food we think it's great, it tastes amazing, but it's also an anti-inflammatory diet, whole foods, lots of color, it's very ingredient driven. It's 100% gluten free. It's no refined sugar, although I won't say sugar free, because we make beautiful sweet things that have
Really good brownies.
Yeah, like great brownies. For instance, we've had guests who have celiac disease, so we're celiac friendly, who feel safe to be able to eat in our kitchen. And people with other autoimmunity and food allergies and health challenges where they feel supported well. And they can really take some time to reset and see if the change in diet and lifestyle, because of course when you're living in this beautiful environment and being able to walk to the beach every morning and watch the sunrise with your coffee, it gives you a chance to sort of pause and see what you need to feel better. Mm-hmm.
So this is our room that we've been staying here. It can be a triple bedroom because these beds like split apart into 3. So it could be 3 people staying in one room with a main bathroom here. Or like for us, this is just like a private room with an attached bathroom. The number one, I don't say the number one reason, but a main attractive feature here is that they have air conditioners in every room. And this time of year is the hottest time of year in Costa Rica. So we were overheating a lot in the boat. And so it was nice to have some air conditioning and the fans going. Big showers, beautiful showers, hot water. And then my favorite part about the bathroom is all of the products that they have here. So the products they have here are Biosfera. And it's a Costa Rican company. It's all biodegradable. This is built on a conservation area. And so all the cleaning products, the laundry soap, anything that goes down the drains has to be biodegradable.
Nereus is located, really on the fringe of the jungle, only 150 meters from the beach. And we have 5 bungalows, 3 2-story buildings, a very community-feeling central part of the hotel where the restaurant is, a small saltwater pool. And it's really been designed and renovated in mind to play to that community side of living and having people come and visit and click in really fast to being part of the group of people that are already here.
So the name Nereus, when Stuart and I were trying to decide on a name for the property, we both like mythology and we turned to the Greek mythology. And Nereus was a mystic and a teacher. In Homer's writings and in the wider Greek mythology, you come across him as this teacher, this mystic, and he's thought to have said that he wanted to be a pebble on the path. Come and learn from me, learn what you can, take what you want, and then move on to the next teacher. And we just thought that was exactly what we were looking to be, a pebble on someone's path. So come, take what resonates with you, take what you want, and move on to your next teacher or your next place.
This part of the world is just really, really known for its biodiversity and nature. Some of the stats, 2.5% of the Earth's biodiversity is in this small part of the world, the Osa Peninsula. So for example, in the ocean, we have migration of humpback whales from the Antarctica, but then the other 6 months from northern waters. We have, I think, up to 40,000 baby turtles released a year off this beach of 3 different types. Just in our garden, we have macaws and toucans and squirrel monkeys and howler monkeys and capuchin monkeys. Just so much just all around us. And so anyone visiting us, it's just a great way to be immersed in that nature in a really authentic way. And also then there's many excursions people can do. You can go horseback riding from here along the beach and along by the mangroves. You can go kayaking through the mangroves and see that ecosystem. You can visit Corcovado National Park, which is Just an amazing place to go and just see so much nature. You're almost guaranteed to see sloths and spider monkeys and tapirs and all these things that are on many people's bucket lists. 10 minutes from our local airstrip, which has, in the high season, 14 flights in and out a day, so it's well served. Although we're in a very remote location, it is quite easy to get here.
So we are a family style kitchen. We prepare meals and everyone gets to help themselves to fill their plate. And philosophically, I do this intentionally because I believe that people know how much they want to eat and what they want to eat at every meal. So the idea is to give people the opportunity to see what we've laid out in our spread. We always have lots of choices, and we are an omnivore kitchen, so there's always animal protein or fish of some kind, as well as plant proteins. Every meal there are plant proteins for those who are 100% plant-based. And it's interesting to watch because what someone might normally eat, they might eat differently that day or that meal, depending on how they're feeling. When you get a plated meal from a kitchen, you find there's a lot of waste, or else there's this thing where maybe you enjoyed something and you'd like more of it, but you didn't really like the other things. So my hope is it gives people a little more flexibility to eat more of what feels good for them that day, and less of things that aren't appealing to them. But more importantly, I work with a client base who have a lot of, who are on health supportive diets, and there are a lot of seemingly healthy foods they cannot eat. They're, one person's health food is another person's poison in terms of how it reacts in the body. So it just means we can account for all dietary preferences and needs while also giving people a chance to adjust the volume of how much they're eating.
So what we do is we change the menu depending on who's here and what their diet restrictions are and eating preferences. So this is the makings of pico de gallo. This is our lunch plan for today. We're making a dish called chifrijo, which is, chi is from chicharrones, which means fried pork, and frijo is frijoles, in beans. So it's a bar food in Costa Rica, and it's just one that we find really, really popular. Traditionally, it says that we need to use avocado, but the avocados are like bullets. So today we're going with green cabbage, and also we're going to use pesto that we made, which has 3 greens in it. It's basil, kale, and celery leaf. So that just gives a real pack of greens and vitamins or nutrients that way. It's seasonally driven, but it's not like other countries in that it's just most things that we get in Costa Rica are available most of the year. Okay. So for example, a lot of the more fragile grown things like salads and stuff are all coming from the Central Valley, and that has a permanent all year round spring-like climate, so they pretty much grow them all year. Down near the beaches we've got the tropical fruit, the bananas and the pineapples and the papayas, and they're pretty much all year because it's a consistent temperature. So it's definitely local, but yeah, seasons, it tends to be all year. But that affects the fish too. So for example, December to March was a really, really good time for mahi-mahi, and we were getting a lot of that, and that was working its way into a lot of the meals, but not so much now. Now it's more tunas coming along.
The other advantage to our family style eating is we have very little waste. We have been keeping an eye on how much we compost, and it's surprisingly little food goes into the compost. And I think it's because of this, giving people the ability to choose how much they're eating and at each mealtime. And then what we do, we take all the food back into the kitchen and we look at how we can repurpose it pretty quickly. So for instance, this is a blended juice, and that's just the pineapple and papaya that was in the fruit bowls this morning at breakfast. So we either use it as juice or we turn it into popsicles, especially during yoga teacher trainings when the students are working all day and they need treats, pick-me-ups to keep them going.
The one thing that I think is really unique about here is like our just general philosophy is that there is no one size fits all. And so one of the things that I've been hearing a lot from feedback from students is that they were really nervous to go to a teacher training because they thought, well, I'm not enough, I'm not spiritual enough, I'm not advanced in my yoga postures enough, and all of these things. And then as soon as you get here, you realize that none of that matters. And like, yeah, okay, cool, if you can do handstands or headstands, and that's amazing, but it's not about that. And so, yeah, I think people feel really supported in that way, and health supported, like with Jen's food philosophies as well. There is no one size fits all. One of the huge blessings is like it's become a place for spiritual growth where you get to try things out in your world and like, oh, how does it feel to have a silent morning before yoga? And you know, how do you feel about that? And then also, how do you feel about being gluten-free? Because we're completely gluten-free, like absolutely no gluten. It gives people the opportunity to try that and notice, like, have things sorted out a bit in your digestion when you do that. And Jen helps people with playing around with like, okay, if you are going to intermittent fast, this is maybe how we might break the fast, or like, what are the things that you're putting into your body? So yeah, it's just a cool spot for exploration.
Why are we even doing like a feature of this place? Not just because we both spent time here and I spent time here. We paid for it. We are not sponsored by them. We're not in like a brand partnership with them. I think we wanted to really take some time to showcase what it's all about, because if you're into yoga, if you're not into yoga, if you're curious about yoga, if you're going to come to Costa Rica and see Corcovado National Park, if you want to sit on the beach for hours and have all your meals prepared and just relax, like, this space is a space where you can do any and all of that. For fellow cruisers or fellow travelers, the big thing for us was that you don't have to be in a retreat or a training to be here. Price point wise, it's accessible as well. For, you know, folks who are working as we go and, you know, don't have tons and tons of money to spend but want to take some time to do something different and invest in ourselves and our well-being. So we'll put all of the information in the video description below, their website, Instagram. Yeah, I hope you found this valuable. If you like this video, if you like any of our videos, if you find yourself watching, coming back to our channel over and over again, please like the video, thumbs up, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And then if you are really invested and you really like our channel, you can go to patreon.com/Sailing Seawind and become a member of our community. Namaste? No, I don't want to say namaste. That could be, that was dumb. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. That just kind of like,
Word mom.
yeah, that was wrong.
Cool, sweetie.
Okay.